Welcome everybody. This is episode 8, actually. Episode 8 with my guy, special guest Trevor Cooney. You know, big time star. I know you're pretty busy. I appreciate you taking the opportunity
No,
to
thank
talk
you,
to
man.
me. Now we go back though, man. Before we get started, I just wanted to say a quick commercial here. If you ever in the Delaware, New Jersey area, please hit up my guy cuts by Evan Flag. His phone number is 302-290-3700. He's in the Wilmington, Delaware area at 4 East 7th Street, Wilmington, DA. So
I
Trev,
mean,
let's
introduce them to like bar or something.
so Trev, let's hop right into it, man. What age did you start playing basketball, and when did you start taking it serious?
I started playing when I was young. I had older brother, older sister.
Okay.
So being the youngest, you're kind of thrown into stuff. But I really started taking basketball serious probably around like sixth grade. Started
Okay.
playing some AAU. Started going up to Philly more.
Right.
Started looking for some like really good competition, some good teams. Um, and then I would say like seventh, eighth grade, started really taking it really serious. Started really working out, just trying to improve my game. And
Right.
that's kind of when I was like, all right, like I really wanted to play in college. And so like that's when that goal really started was like middle school, late middle school, is when I really started working for that goal really.
Right. So you said eighth grade. Now, unlike normal eighth grades, I don't know what you was doing in eighth grade, but me in eighth grade, I was, just happy to play basketball at the Boys and Girls Club. You was playing eighth grade varsity at Sanford.
Yeah.
So talk to me about that, and like what was other schools were you considering going to, and what was it like playing varsity at such a young age?
Well, like I said, like sixth, seventh grades, you started taking it serious. I was pretty tall for my age at the time,
Mhm.
but just started to like really work on my skills and get better. And it happened like really fast. I mean, I was
Right.
just happy to be out there as well. And then next thing you know it, like seventh grade comes along and started really playing well. Started playing up in Philly, and then like kind of was asked like kind of not. I mean, there was other people in Delaware that kind of played in eighth grade as well.
Right.
So that started to kind of be a little goal of mine as well
Mhm.
when I was younger. And then always wanted to go to Sanford. Lived right around there. And then so I mean that was really the only school I was really looking at. And then went there in eighth grade. And then was kind of given the chance to play, but I didn't really know what to expect. I remember my first summer league game. I was like, damn, these dudes are big and tall, and the game was a lot faster than in middle school. I mean, that was a big jump for me, but I felt like I belonged, and then started playing some more with those guys. And then we had a really good group my eighth grade year. It was a heavy senior class. I mean, we had Edwin Santiago,
Mhm.
we had Aaron, we had Manny, Sammer. Like we had a really good group of guys that were there. So that really helped me, having older guys that were able to help me and help me in practices and kind of push me along. Um, but once I started playing with that, I mean, things really started to take off when you're in eighth grade playing.
Yeah, I was. That's what I was gonna say, and I believe this summer before y'all played Crozier, because that was my heading into my junior year, and I think
Mm-hmm.
Kev Waterman, Stan's nephew, played with y'all in that summer. And a lot of people don't know how good Stan's nephew was. God
Mm-hmm.
rest his soul. But I was like, yo, Kev Waterman, you too. They're gonna be a problem for years to come.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy, man. Like it was so much talent, so much guys there. Um, that it took some time to kind of be like, all right, like I kind of belong type of a thing. Because at first it was tough. It was. I mean, those guys were really good.
Right. And I believe Edwin already committed to UD.
Mm-hmm.
Aziz was, a top player in the state. Aaron Collins was just dunking
Mm-hmm.
everything on the court. Y'all was stacked. Now y'all made it all the way to the championship game. Y'all fell. Sure.
Christiana,
Y'all met a experienced, tough
Tim
Christianity.
Steed, and Christiana.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
they were
Y'all got
tough, man.
but do you remember what the crowd was chanting when y'all was losing?
No.
I was in the crowd and I remember they was chanting like you hit a three late in the game, and they was like and he started chanting, "He's a eighth grader." And then
Yeah.
I was like, dang, that's pretty. Got a good point there. He's only in middle school. I'm like, yo, they'll be back. I said that. I said, yo, they'll be back. They'll be back.
Yeah.
So after that, your eighth grade year, like for those 2 years, y'all were like, I guess, learning how to win again, because y'all didn't have that
Yeah.
experience. So talk about like your ninth grade, when Dion went there, and then how that experience was.
Yeah. I remember talking with Dion when he was in eighth grade,
Hmm.
and just being like, I mean, there was heavy seniors leaving, and then we needed some guys to come in to really help us. And Dion was a huge part of that. So I mean, we had Dion, me, we had Sammer, Alex Carroll was there.
Mm,
Um, we had a decent little group. We were young,
right,
not as good as the year before, of course,
right,
but we were working to be that good. So I mean, freshman year was tough. We did all right. I think we lost in like the first or second round in states. We just weren't there yet. We knew it. We needed to add some more pieces, and some other guys. And that eventually did. I mean, Dion left sophomore year, which hurt.
right.
Sophomore year was another tough year for us. Um, and then we were able to add some other guys. Stephen Porch was a big pickup for us. Khalid was huge to come. Sabri,
Right.
and then all those guys were young with us coming up, which was really big. We were able to put some really really good teams together in my junior and senior year. We're able to go outside of the state, play some big time games, go to some big tournaments. So I mean that was, I mean, adding some of those pieces. I mean that was huge, especially in the state of Delaware. I mean, there were still some teams that gave us some good runs. But I mean, we definitely felt like once we started adding those pieces in, that we were definitely a team to beat.
Did you feel like it was a target on your back, like as an underclassman, just because you were like highly ranked and highly touted, and you went to a reputable school? Did you feel like a lot of teams would like attack you, or players would attack you
Oh,
because of
absolutely.
that?
Absolutely. I mean, I felt like once I got older, everyone was sick of me. They're like,
Right,
this guy's been here since middle school playing high school basketball.
right,
So no, I definitely felt, and then like once you go to Sanford as well, like, I mean, everyone knows Sanford within the state and the surrounding area.
right.
So no, I definitely felt like, I mean, I was getting like the football player that was a good defender on the other team. Like I always got that matchup, and you know what I mean? Like they
Yeah,
just foul you all game long.
right,
But that was good. I mean, that made me better.
right.
But I mean, it's if they keyed on me. I mean, we had the pieces, especially junior senior year, that could really make people pay. And that kind of made it a lot easier too. They couldn't just cover me.
Right. And I always compared you, like you were always, since like people hated you like the JJ Redick of Delaware.
Yeah,
Like people just
yeah,
like they didn't know why though. Like they didn't even know you. They would never have a conversation with you.
yeah,
It's like, oh, that's Trevor Cooney. I hate him.
yeah.
I'm like, oh man.
No, I definitely felt like especially at Sanford, and when even home games, road games, whatever it was, like there was a lot of people that had nothing to do with either team that were playing that would come out to like just like watch us lose, or like root against me or Sanford. I definitely, like, you could feel that without doubt. Like,
Right.
well, I mean, we had our own support that was good, but you could definitely tell. You could definitely tell, and that helped. Like that helped going into college.
Right.
Like it kind of stuck with me. So it was good to hear it at a young age as well.
So your junior year, Dion comes back, after leaving for a year. Did you like automatically think once he came back, like knowing y'all went through them rough stages, like, yeah, we upperclassmen now, we gonna win this championship? Did-
Absolutely, yeah. When Dion came back, I was like, let's go. Like we're definitely one of the best teams in the state, best teams in the area, really. Once Dion came back, I knew we had some other really good pieces as well. But I mean, to add Dion 6'5", 6'6", long arms, can rebound, shoot. Like adding a guy of like that can do it all. I was like, we're definitely one of the best teams, and I knew once we added him that we could really make some damage, and we did. I mean, I think we were undefeated. We lost our last game to Tatnall going
Mm,
into the season. I mean, into the playoffs. We lost a tough game at home to them, and then we ran through the playoffs. And we only lost one game that year. So like, yeah, I knew
Wow.
once Dion and we had the other pieces with Khalid
Mhm.
and Stefan, like I knew that we were right there.
And it also like you probably faced a way less double teams and boxing
Mm-hmm.
ones because teams
Mm-hmm.
couldn't hold on to you because you had Khalid right here,
Mm-hmm.
Sabri and Dion. So it was definitely probably easy for y'all to run your offense. Talk to me about how Stan is good at coaching all that talent
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes you'll see another talented team and it just falls apart.
Yeah. No, Coach Stan. He's such a great motivator and leader, and that's what makes him so much different than a lot of the other coaches. I mean, obviously he's an unbelievable coach, but like the way that he gets the attention of his players, the stuff that he demands from his players, and just the system that he has offensively and defensively. I mean, guys buy into it. I mean, that's the hardest thing, is to get a good group of guys to buy into. A good offense and a good defense, and he
Right.
demands a lot from his players. And I mean, year after year, he gets the best out of them. I mean, and that's why he's the best, really.
And so your junior year, y'all beat Dover in the championship. Talk to me about that. What was that experience like?
That was tough. That Denver team was good. They were
Yeah.
really good. They had size with
Yeah.
them. They had good guards.
Yep.
Crawford was there. Like
Yep.
they had some really, really good players, and we knew going into that game that it was going to be a tough, tough game. They matched up with us well in the size with the guards and the bigs. Like it was definitely going to be a battle, and we were able to play well at the end, and sneak out a win, which was good.
Right. Yeah, that was a good game.
It
That was a
really
good
was.
game. So now when did you commit to Syracuse? Before your senior year or after your senior year?
Yeah, so I committed like right before the playoffs my junior year.
Okay.
I just kind of felt like Syracuse was the right spot for me. And I was just ready at that time, really.
What was your top three choices? Do you remember?
Syracuse, Notre Dame, and probably West Virginia, Maryland.
Okay.
They were kind of in the mix, and then towards the end, it was kind of Syracuse was kind of the school that I kind of showed the most interest to. So towards the end, like a couple of the other schools kind of fell off because they kind of felt like I was leaning towards that going there.
Right. Now you played on team final, AAU program. You played with, people like Dion Waiters, Marcus Kennedy, Raheem Christmas, Michael Kidd, Girl Chris. Talk
Mm-hmm.
about, playing for team final and what was it like playing against with that type of
I
competition?
mean, it was different. Like when I was at Sanford, you were kind of the guy. You were one of the guys that, I mean, plays were drawn up for, balls in your hands, and then now to learn on the other side to play with other really really good players, to where you were kind of a role player, which was good. I mean, I think if you really want to be a good player and get to the next level and continue to climb the ladder of basketball, like you gotta be able to figure out how to do both. And that's what I did at team final. I was the shooter. They would kind of come off screens and kind of they were just trying to get me open shots. And it felt like a lot like college, really, playing with those guys.
Right.
And my last year playing with them was the first year of the EYBL. So I was able to get a taste of that, which was awesome. To go to those different Nike events and play in all those tournaments against all the other teams. I thought that really really helped me get better and offer also confidence wise, kind of going into college.
Right. Shout out to team final because y'all they produce
Yeah.
crazy talent. Like it's every year somebody like, oh, this person's getting drafted for team final. So
Yeah.
it's like it's crazy. But so your senior year, you know what I mean? You already committed to Syracuse. You already won a state championship. Y'all end up going back to the state championship. So talk to me
hmm
about that game versus Red Lion and
We were
all
playing against Red Lion. Man, that team, they
the
came out of nowhere. They had guys
right.
from like the Virgin Islands that were going D1. They had like 17 other Division 1 football players on that team.
Right.
Like you name it, they had it on that team. Like, and they we didn't play them at all during the state. And they kind of popped up out of nowhere my senior year, and I was just like, man, you gotta be kidding me. Like
Right.
this, I was like, I just have a feeling. I was like, we're gonna meet this team in the championship. Like, and I kind of, I mean, being a senior, you want to go out like you won junior year. Like winning junior year almost doesn't mean anything if you don't win senior year. And that's kind of how I felt about it. And I felt like we had a really really good team, and I felt like that it was our year as well. So to face them, it was definitely the two best teams in the state going at it that year, and that team was really really good. I mean,
Right.
that team had guys that I think they had 3 Division I basketball players, and I want to say 4 or 5 Division I football players. So I mean that team had it all really. I mean they had size, they had guys that could play, they had guys that could shoot the ball, and that was a tough game. I want to say they were up, and then we were able to make some shots in the second quarter. I mean the second half and like get back into it,
Right.
and then Dion shot ended it all.
Now talk about that shot because I had Dion on the show a couple weeks ago. He said the play was originally drawn up for you, and he told you if they double team, kick it to him, he gonna make the shot.
Yeah, he actually did. We had this play drawn up, and it was just to get guys open. I mean, we had 4.4 seconds left, and we just wanted to get a good shot off,
Right.
and we had good options on it. And then the play kind of broke down, and
Right.
so I kind of sprinted towards the sideline because I didn't want to get a 5 second violation. I just wanted to get the ball in and get an attempt. So I just ran towards the sideline. I think it might have been Khalid was taking it out, and I think Khalid throws the ball to me, and I caught it in a bad spot, and I kind
Mhm.
of just looked behind me, and Dion was right there, and just threw it right to him, and it was a deep three that he hit,
Mhm.
and he stepped right into it and knocked it down. I mean one of the best shots that I've been a part of, really. And then to end your high school career on that shot was unbelievable. Um, like unlike anything else, really.
Yeah, that was all I remember was Earl Miller, Sanford run. Shout out to Earl running all of the stands, jumping on the court like he's a player, like security, like yo, who is this guy? It's like yo, if you go to Sanford, you gonna know Earl Miller.
Oh, absolutely,
but
absolutely.
but it was like yo, you'd have thought Earl Miller played or practice with y'all every day, but that was definitely the greatest shot that I've seen. And like you got to think about it, championship game, no time left on the clock, buzzer beater. That was the best shot I
It
ever seen.
was. It really was.
So you ended Sanford as the all-time leading scorer with 1,826 points. Knowing all the history that goes into Sanford basketball, how did that make you feel leaving? As arguably one of the best players to come out of there.
No, it feels good. I mean, Coach Stan and Sanford. I mean, they've done a great job creating that program into what it is. I mean, there's a lot of guys that have come through, and I mean, Sanford has done everything for us, really, on and off the court. And so to be one of the leading scorers through there, definitely means a lot. I mean, I gave everything to Sanford, and they did the same to me. And all the credit to Coach Stan and the other coaches that we had there. It was a lot of fun. I mean, and it definitely turned me into the player that I am, and helped me do the things that I was able to do with the game. And that's because of that program, really.
Shout out to Coach Stan in the Warriors. I always say y'all had to wear the baggy, no name jerseys then, so they can wear them nice Nike jerseys as they got
I know,
now.
right? They got like the sponsorship now.
Right. So you go to Syracuse. You play with a lot of talent there. Now your freshman year, your real freshman year, you redshirted. Was
Yep.
there a decision that went into that, or was it a reason why?
Um. So when they were recruiting me, Michael Carter Williams, they were also recruiting another guard,
Mm,
and at the time, Mike Carter Williams was kind of like a lanky 6'6" guard, and he had like an unbelievable like senior year of high school and ended up being an All American.
mm,
So that was like kind of unexpected on that side. But then on the same time, Dion Waiters, they thought that he was just going to be one and done. And then they didn't make the run that they wanted to that year in the tournament. So
right.
then it was the right move for Dion to come back. Mike Carr Williams is an All American. So I'm looking at the guards, and I mean there was like 4 or 5. We had Scoop Jardine, Brandon Trish, Dion Waiters, Mike Carter Williams, and then me. I was the fifth guard.
Right,
So I
right.
mean, when we started practicing and working out, I mean, you could kind of see it. I mean, how if you're the fifth guard, how are you going to play? So I mean, I went and talked to Coach Boeheim, and I mean, he kind of said it as well. Like, I mean, if you get in, it's going to be we're either down 30 or up 30, and it's going to be late in the games. So I kind of felt like I don't want to waste a year doing that. If I can sit out, that would be the best thing. And it actually was one of the best things that I've ever did. I was able to trade a year where I wasn't going to play at all for my senior year, my fifth year, where I think I played 39 minutes, 40 minutes a game. So, and I mean, it was the greatest trade. And I was able to kind of like take a step back and watch film and really watch the game from a different angle and really take it in. And I was able to lift. I was able to gain some weight, and it really, really helped me. I mean, it was really, really tough to take that whole entire year off. I mean, you go your whole entire life playing the game of basketball, playing it, and then you get to your goal is to play in college, and then you have to sit out a whole entire year. So it was tough, but I mean, it was the best thing that I really did, and it was a great decision.
What advice would you say for any upcoming college freshman that's considering a red shirt, or anyone that has the red shirt period? Like, what advice would you give them to do with that extra year of off, and how should they spend their time getting better?
I mean, you have to look at college basketball for what it is, and it's. I mean, unless you're a one and done guy, you have to look at you got 4 years, 4 or 5 years, so
Right.
you got to look at the big picture of it, and you can't just put everything into 1 year because I mean, like I said, I traded a year of not playing for a year of playing 40 minutes, and we went to the Final Four.
Right.
So like, and you have to look at the big picture and your overall goal of being a college basketball player and not just playing as a freshman.
Right.
Because I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, college basketball is tough. It's tough to play in Division One, and there's a lot of good guys. And if you go to a really good program, I mean, there's going to be guys in front of you. I mean,
Right.
that's just how it is. So I mean, if you're able to sit out a year, it doesn't mean that you're not good or you're not ready. It just means that there's some players in front of you that are still there. So I mean, my advice would be just look at the overall big picture, and you got 4 or 5 years to play, and don't waste a year really.
Right. Now, before we get in the rest of your Syracuse career, I just want to say you played with at your time at Syracuse. You played with Michael Carter Williams, like you said, Deion Waiters, C.J. Fair, Scoop Jardine, Brandon Trish, Raheem Christmas, Chris Joseph, Fab Mello, Michael Benjay, Jeremy Grant, Tyler
Mm-hmm.
Ennis, B.J. Johnson, who actually later transferred to LaSalle,
Mm-hmm.
Dewan Coleman, Tyler London, and Malachi Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, that's a crazy list of teammates.
And I mean, that's why you go to those programs. I mean, when Syracuse recruited me, it wasn't they didn't promise me playing time. They didn't promise me this or that. They
Right,
just said like you can be a part of some really really good teams, and if you work hard and you play well, like you're going to be right there. And that was such a selling point for me because that's what I wanted to do. I like growing up, I was always a part of good teams, and I kind of and that I mean, and that's how I wanted to. I didn't want to go somewhere and be the leading scorer and play this and that and just focus on shots and points. I wanted to be a part of something in a program like that. And that's why you go to Syracuse. You go to Syracuse
right.
to be coached by Coach Boeheim and to play with really good players, and then you give yourself a chance in March. You play a really good schedule, and hopefully at the end you're right in the mix and you're able to get hot and make a run, which we were able to do a couple times.
Now did a lot of I know you work specifically with Jerry Mac, G Mac,
Mm-hmm.
and do a lot of the other alumni come through like Mello and what's my guy name? What's my guy that played with Mello, the point guard?
That was Jerry.
That was
Jerry was the
Jerry.
point.
Oh,
Yeah, that was
Devendorf.
Jerry.
No, I'm thinking Devendorf.
Devendorf. Oh, Devendorf.
Devendorf.
Yeah, Devendorf was a couple years later.
Okay.
But yeah, no, the alumni they always come back. Mello, I was able to meet Mello a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah, he was always a big time supporter. If we were ever playing the Garden when he was on the Knicks and stuff, he would always stop in the locker room or come say what's up. But no, I mean, when you have a coach that's there for 40 plus years and all the guys play for that one coach, I mean, guys come
True.
back. I mean, it's definitely one of those programs where guys feel a certain way about it, just because of the support that they got when they were there and the help that they got. And I mean, a lot of guys were a part of some really, really good teams there.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you played there, you always come back and definitely show love.
Now, a lot of people don't know your freshman year, y'all actually made the Final Four too.
We
So
did.
your freshman year, you made the Final Four. Y'all lost to Michigan, I believe,
We lost to Michigan. Yeah.
who with a Trey Burke and I think
Yeah,
Tim
that
Hardaway
Michigan team was
Jr. Talk about that
Scouskas.
year. Talk about that
Yeah,
year.
that year was tough. I mean, I sat out the year before, and then I
Right.
come into this year, and I was the third guard. I was coming off the bench for the first time in my life.
Hmm.
I just sat out a year. It was definitely a tough year for me. Like stat wise, I did not play well,
Hmm.
but I learned how to be a role player, how to play in the 2-3 zone, how to do the little things, and not just rely on shooting the ball well or scoring points. It became the little things for me, and that was a tough year, but I was able to learn a lot, and it helped me the next 3 years.
So you come back your sophomore year. Y'all had seemed like y'all had a lot more talent that year, but y'all end up falling short and y'all lose the third round of the
Hmm.
NCAA tournament. What was that year like for you?
My sophomore year, I think, was one of the best teams that we had there when I
Right.
was there. I mean, we had Tyler Ennis, who was one of the best point guards
Mhm.
in the country. We had C.J. Fair, Jeremy Grant, Raheem Christmas. We had like a really really good group my sophomore year, and that was the year where we got to number one in the country for a while. We were 26-0. We just had it rolling. I mean, we went out to the Hawaii tournament, the Maui Invitational. We won that thing.
Right.
We were able to beat Duke that year. We were able to shout out to your shirt there.
Yeah, yeah.
We were able to beat some good teams, and then like late in February, we just hit a wall. We had Boston College, who was the worst team in the ACC at the time. They
Okay.
came and played us, and we were 26-0. We were the number one team in the country, and we lost.
Wow.
And that was our first loss. I mean, you start the season in November. We went through November, December, January. You make it to like end of February, where you think like you got probably like 5 games left,
Right.
and we ended up like losing the last like 4 out of 5 of those games. And I don't know what it was. Like that team was really really good, and like everyone played well together. Everyone got along. We just hit this road, and we just couldn't figure it out anymore. Um, and then we ended up going to the ACC tournament. We lose first round to to NC State, who had Warren, and some other really really good guys. And then we go to the NCAA tournament, played well against Western Michigan, and then end up running into Dayton, who was a who really got hot. I think they ended up getting to the Sweet 16 or Elite Eight that year. But yeah, I mean that was a team that had it rolling, and we just hit a wall late. And it was wild. I mean, some of the teams that I was a part of up there, like some of the talented teams, the teams where you think you're going to make the Final Four, we didn't. Like we just kind of ran out of gas late, and then a couple of the other two teams that did make it to the Final Four were teams that it was a roller coaster ride the whole entire year, and then next you know it, like end of February, March comes around, and you figure it out and you get hot. I mean, and that's what college basketball is kind of all about.
Right. And was that your first year in the ACC? Because y'all transitioned from the Big East to
Yeah.
the AC. Okay.
Yep. Yep. That
Okay.
was that was our first year there.
And that, oh, yeah, like you said, it is a game. Like the whole season is a game of runs. So it really depends on who's the hottest. That's why you see teams like Duke with five number one
Mm-hmm.
first round picks lose because they just wasn't hot at the right time.
And
And
that, I mean that's the beauty about college basketball
right.
is you do not have to be the best team to win. You just have to be the best team for those 2 hours.
Mm.
And that's what it's about, really. And then that's why you see the upsets all the time in college basketball.
So now your junior year, that's your first year as a was a first year as a full time starter, I believe. But
Sophomore year was.
oh, sophomore year it was. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But your junior year, y'all had a postseason ban,
Mm-hmm.
I believe. So talk about that year. Was that year a little weird, knowing that y'all wasn't gonna play in
It
the
was.
tournament, but y'all
So
wanted
junior
to?
year, that was one of my good friends, Raheem Christmas. That was his senior year,
Right,
who I came in with, but I ended up redshirting.
right.
And he had an amazing year. I mean, he was a double double in the ACC. And like, I mean, we were a team that we were on the bubble like literally the whole entire year. We would upset someone, play well, and then we'd lose to someone that we should have beat.
Right.
And then we get kind of towards the end of the year, and then like there's some things that happened in like the past, like I'm talking like 80s 90s at Syracuse, where like
It's
all
crazy,
of a
man.
sudden, yeah, they started stuff started coming out, and then we started getting in trouble, and then you start hearing about like a ban, and like here, like I mean, here we are, like I mean, no one on the team did anything,
Right.
and we're talking about things that happened in the 80s. I'm like, this is ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, NCAA came down on a ban for us, and we were not able to go to the ACC tournament, and we're not able to go to the NCAA tournament. I mean, we were on the bubble as it was, but
Right.
I mean, college basketball is all about opportunities and chances,
Yeah.
and that's why you see some teams make a run to the Final Four. You don't know. I mean, we were on the bubble the next year, my senior year, and make it to the Final Four. So like that, I mean, like I said, that's the beauty about college basketball is you never know. But I mean, if opportunities are taken away from you, that's kind of what hurt the most about that.
Right. Now, yeah, senior year, like you said, y'all were like a bubble team, so y'all were on a rebuild. Um, and then y'all you're on a rebuild. Well, it seems like y'all was on a rebuild. So you get these two freshmen, Ty London, Malachi Richardson, and y'all make a run to the Final Four. Y'all just get hot. Like
Mm-hmm.
I always say, the turning point in that year was y'all game versus Duke. It was y'all, and that's the game that I was at. Like y'all, it showed that y'all could play and beat anybody,
Yeah.
and you had your most. I always thought that was one of your best games because you just like went off in the fourth and you had a crazy three. And then I feel like that game turned y'all season around because y'all before that y'all was like playing 500 type of ball. Then y'all just
Yeah. It really was. Mike Benege, I mean, he made a great decision by transferring from Duke to Syracuse,
oh man,
which was a great decision by him. But no, I mean, me and him were the two guards, and we were two fifth year guys that have been through everything really with college basketball. So I mean, we were experienced guys, and then we had a bunch of young guys around us. So we were able to be good leaders, and because I mean they were young guys, but they were talented guys, which was good. So we were able to kind of put a good group together. We were guys that we got along great. We played well together. We just wanted to try and win really. And then we were a team that like we were in a lot of the games, and then something would happen and we would lose. But we were able to beat some really good teams that year as well. I mean, we went down to the Bahamas tournament
oh
around
yeah,
Thanksgiving time. We
yep.
beat we beat UConn, who was really good that year. We beat Texas A&M, who was really good as
Mhm.
well in the championship. So I mean, we were for a little bit a top 25 team,
Right,
and then we ended up losing some games. Lost a tough one to Wisconsin at home.
right.
Um, but then ACC play starts, and that was the year where Boeheim got suspended.
Mm.
So we start ACC play, and we don't have Boeheim for like the first 9 games,
Oh man,
which was really really weird. I mean, and he had no contact with us. So you're talking 9 games. It's like almost a month,
right.
really, to where he no longer was in practice, no longer could coach. And that was really tough. I mean, I think we might have went 500
Mm.
over those 9 games. I mean, we played some really tough ones. I mean, 9 games over a course of a year, like I mean, that
It's
makes or
30
breaks your
percent of your
season.
season. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's 30 of your season.
So, and then we were able to get behind back for like the last 9 games of the ACC, and we ended up playing well. We played North Carolina really tough at home, and then we go on the road. We beat Wake Forest, and then we beat Duke, and then we were able to win some games later. And then we go to the ACC tournament and we lose to Pittsburgh in the first round. And we were a team that was playing well. And then next thing you know it, we found ourselves right on the bubble. Honestly, I was not sure if we were going to make it that year.
Yeah.
And that was the year where we were all in the locker room watching Selection Sunday, and the bracket got leaked like halfway through the Selection Sunday show. And you know that show, it's so long. Like it's the longest show in the world. And we were the last 10 seed in the last bracket that was called.
Oh man.
So I remember watching it and I'm just like, we're not making it. They go through all the different ones. And then next thing you know it, like one of my friends sent me like a bracket and they're like, you guys are in. And I'm like, there's no way this is real. Like, how can this possibly get leaked?
Right.
And like, there's just no way. I'm like, it's on Twitter. It's fake. Like, and I started going through and matching it up. And I'm like, this thing's real. And then next, you know, they get to the last bracket and it's like blowing up on Twitter that like someone leaked the bracket and it was real and we were in. So then they finally call our names. And we were the 10 seed. And it was kind of like a relief to get in because now you know that you have a chance, you have an opportunity to go out there and play well. We were able to put some good practices together, and we were the 10 seed who matched up with Dayton as the 7 seed. So here we are now. We get some revenge on Dayton, who beat us 2 years before. So we were able to play well. We beat them, and then Michigan State was the 2 seed in our bracket, and I remember like. You're watching all the shows once everything's selected, and Michigan State was the favorite to win it that year.
Right.
Just because they had an unbelievable talented team with Izzo and them. And then they were saying like a lot of people picked us to win our game, but then they were looking at the stats of Michigan State, who they had the highest percentage shooting against zones. So they're like, Michigan State is going to run away with this bracket. And then Michigan State lost to Middle Tennessee State, who was a 15 seed. So we beat Dayton, and then we get Middle Tennessee State, who it was hot at the time, and they did not know what to do against our zone. We ended up blowing them out.
Right.
And then we go to the Sweet 16. We get Gonzaga, who was really, really good. And then we ended up beating them, and then we got Virginia. And that game was crazy.
That was a dogfight.
Because I mean, we go to halftime. We were down like 25 points, and it was kind of like, all right, it was a good run because I've never beat Virginia. Like Virginia was a team in ACC that we've never beat before, and every time we played them, they played well against us and kind of blew us out. So here we are again, getting blown out, and then we come out in the second half and we're able to. I mean, that was a Virginia team that had who did they have? They had Brogdon.
Brogdon. Did they have Kyle
Fuentes.
Did it?
No, he wasn't there yet.
Okay.
And I mean, that was just a really, really talented Virginia team. I mean, they were a 1 seed for a reason. And we were able to play well in the second half. We pressed them. They turned the ball over. And we were able to. Malachi Richardson made some huge, huge shots in that game, and we were able to get right back into it. And we were able to hold on and win. And that was unbelievable to get back to the Final Four after going there your freshman year. I mean, to get to the Final Four is a very, very tough thing to do. I mean, you got to play well in the NCAA tournament. So to get there twice over my career was unbelievable, and to get there on your senior year too was really, really special. Especially with the group that we had. I mean, we weren't picked to be there. We weren't supposed to be there. Right. But I mean, that's college basketball. I mean, we were a 10 seed that just played well and figured out how to win those games, which was huge. And then we run into North Carolina, who we were playing for the third time that year. We played them home and away during the season, and we played them tough. We were a team that they could hang with North Carolina for a little bit. The zone kind of they didn't shoot the ball too well, but the one thing they did do was rebound. And we get to the Final Four, and it was a tough matchup for us. And we were able to play with them for a little bit, and then their size kind of took over in the second half, and was a little bit too much for us. But it was a hell of an experience to get back there and to have that chance. And that was the year Villanova wins with Jenkins' shot at the end. So I mean, that was a special Final Four to be a part of, and Villanova beat Oklahoma and Buddy Hield. So I
Right.
mean, there were some really really good players in that Final Four. So to be a part of it was awesome.
What was the vibe like around campus, knowing that you guys were underdogs and made it to Final Four? Were y'all like gods on campus when y'all came back to Syracuse?
Yeah, it was big time. Just because I mean, you go into it, and I mean, you're Syracuse. You know, what I mean, you're not really supposed to be a 10 seed, but we found ourselves that year as the 10 seed. So a lot of people were kind of disappointed in our year, kind of going into it. A lot of
right,
people felt like we shouldn't have been there in the tournament, and we didn't deserve to be there. But I mean, we kind of thought different, and we went out and played well. So I mean, we kind of shocked a lot of people, and definitely the city of Syracuse. I mean, we have an unbelievable fan base, and they definitely came out and definitely supported us through that run.
and so you finished your career, at Syracuse, going to the Final Four twice. Um, besides making the Final Four, what would be your favorite like Syracuse, moment? Like one moment that you could remember.
There was a lot of them, man. Like um, being Syracuse and being in New York. I mean, you have such a big following. Like being able to play in the Garden, and like have like a packed house. Like that was special. Coming back home and like kind of playing against Villanova at Wells Fargo,
Mhm.
like playing where the Sixers play. And then like playing at home, like we play in the dome, so we're able to fit a lot of fans in there. So when Duke, North Carolina, and Notre Dame, some of our bigger ACC matchups come through, I mean, you get 30,000 people in there. Like that's unbelievable for a college basketball game.
Right.
So to play in front of that many people and to play on ESPN and on the big stage like that, like there's a lot of memories that really stick out. And also playing at Duke, winning at Duke, I would say.
What was that game like? Because a lot of people don't know what Duke is. Like TV does not give the name justice. Like,
No.
and my dad says that was the best day of his life. When he went to that game with me, we played at Duke. What was it like being a opposing play? Because you see it on TV, like the camera crazy,
Yeah.
but
It really does. It's like such a special place. And if you're like a college basketball junkie, like it's like everything. Like it's exactly what college basketball is all about. Like it's a small like venue, like
right,
fans, students right on top of you. Like you could hear the students the whole entire time.
right,
Like it's just a fun place to play.
right,
And it's unlike any other place in the country. And like to go there and to play well, because the last time we were there was we were down two, and with like a couple seconds left, like 20 seconds left, CJ Fair goes baseline, and Rodney Hood takes a charge, which was a block, but they call a charge.
right.
And then that was the game. Boeheim comes running out on the court, screaming at the refs. He gets thrown out of the game with like 20 seconds left. Quinn Cook goes to the line, makes the foul shots. We end up fouling again. So to go
Oh,
there 2 years
I think
later,
that's the
yeah, yeah,
meme. I think that's the meme
yes,
where he's like, "Oh
it
man."
is. That was that game. So we go there 2 years later. Michael Benajay, who just transferred from there. You know what I mean? You want to
Right,
play well for him.
right.
And we were able to.
So, after Syracuse, you go to you play professionally. So
I'll order more.
your 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 first 2 years, you play over Spain, Germany. What was that like?
It was tough. I mean, going into you finish your career and it's kind of like what's next, type of a thing. And I mean, everyone has dreams to play in the NBA, but I mean, it's
Right,
it's tough. There's not many job opportunities with it, and I mean, those guys in the NBA they're the best in the world.
right,
So I mean, I thought maybe I had a chance to make a summer league team or to make camp or something like that. But I mean,
right.
I knew that I was an overseas guy. So I mean, I was definitely eager to head over there. And my agent set me up with this team Baskonia, who's in EuroLeague, and it's tough. It's really really tough. I mean, the next step below the NBA is EuroLeague.
Mm.
and they don't take a lot of young guys like fresh out of college. Like you have to have almost an NBA resume to get into EuroLeague. But they brought me on as like a kind of like a training camp deal. So I
Right.
signed with them, and then I was kind of there until they signed their next American. So in Spain, you're allowed to have two Americans on your team. So I played with Shane Larkin, who
Okay.
went to Miami and was
Right.
drafted, and played with Dallas and Boston for a
Right.
while.
Right.
And then once they signed Chase Budinger, who went to Arizona, was with Minnesota for a while. They brought him in, and then I kind of was released, and then I ended up signing with a team in Germany. And then I was with that team for a little bit, and then I was cut. I was cut from that team in Germany. That team was not a very good team, and that's how it is over there. Like they had probably like 4 or 5 Americans on that team. I joined them in like November. They were not winning when I got there, and then they released like 2 of the Americans, and then I was like the next 2 to go after that. So my first year pro was tough. I mean, you kind of want to go over there and be a part of a team.
Right.
And I was a part of one, and then I was a part of another one, and then I was released, and that was really tough. Because it's your first experience of being a professional, and you got fired, and it was really really tough.
Right.
And I come back home. I end up finishing the year with Long Island Nets. I was able to play well with them for a little bit. I mean, I was only there for probably a couple months.
Right.
So I mean, my first year, I started. I got a little taste of EuroLeague, which was awesome, and then played first division in Germany for a little bit, and then played in the G League. So I mean, my first year, I was all over the place.
Right.
I was able to experience a lot, which was good. Just to kind of get a sense of what it's like. And then my second year, I kind of wanted to go to a good club. I wanted to go to a good league, and then I ended up signing in Spain again with the second division in
Mhm.
Spain, which is really really good. And I was on like a really really good club. It was a really fun city, and it was really really cool. And I was on that team. We ended up I played really well that year. We made the playoffs. Went pretty deep in the playoffs, which was good. Um, but it was fun. I really enjoyed playing overseas. I mean, I only did it for 2 years.
Right.
Um, and it was a great experience. And there's a lot of guys that play over there for a while, but
Right.
after my second year, I wasn't sure if I wanted to go back. It's just such a grind, and I was so spoiled at Syracuse
Right.
with the which is how it was. I mean, you when you're playing at that level, like you almost feel like you're in the NBA with how you travel and how you're taken care of,
Right.
and you're on ESPN, and kind of your social media is blowing up all the time.
Right.
So you kind of feel like that way, and then you head overseas, and now you're taking a 12-hour bus ride across the country of Spain. Like it,
Right.
it was just so it was just so different. And and you're over there for such a long time. You're over there 9-10 months, and then you come home for a month and a half, 2 months, and then you head right back over again. Um, so I mean, it was really tough, but I had a lot of fun doing it. I'm so glad I did it, because not many people get the opportunity to do that.
Now you're done playing basketball, and you're a trainer for BPG Sports, and you got your Team 10 Academy. You're director of basketball operations there as well. Talk to me about that. What's life like after?
Yeah, so I work at the San Francisco Fieldhouse. I am director of events and programs. So my role here is to just keep the field house and our courts busy. Anything from leagues to training to tournaments, camps, concerts, graduations, and then also I work pretty closely with the Delaware Blue Coats, the 76ers G League team. They have all their games, practices, everything here. So it's fun. I mean, getting a little taste of the business world here, and then also still around sports and the game that I love, basketball, which is awesome.
All right. So the last segment of our show, we go through our our top 10 questions here, and you can just give your best answer for whatever you have. So number one, what's your career high? And this could be college, high school, or AAU.
College. I think it was college. I had 33 against Notre Dame.
Okay, okay, and that was one of the schools you was considering going to.
It was
Now, what's your favorite hoop sneaker?
Kobe's. Kobe's by far my favorite.
Okay, and number three, what's your favorite artist to listen to before a game?
Meek Mill.
Ah, shout out to me. Number four, who was your favorite player growing up?
Favorite player growing up was, I would say, Kobe. Kobe was my favorite player.
Okay. Well, did you ever get a chance to meet Kobe?
I never met Kobe. Now,
Okay. Oh, number five, who's the most underrated player you played with?
underrated player I play with. I'm trying to think. Honestly, I'll give you two. One you might not know, Tyreek Duran. He played team final with us. He was an unbelievable point guard out of Philadelphia. He ended up going to LaSalle and having a great career at LaSalle.
Yes,
But
he
he was
did.
a guy that he made when we were at team final together. We won Pete Sham that year. Like we did a lot of great things in the EYBL because of him. And then my other person I would say Khalid Hart.
Mm,
Khalid was a guy who he ended up going to college and having an unbelievable career, but was a
right.
guy that I felt didn't get some of the respect that he really deserved. I mean, the guy has 3 state championships, which is
He
tough to
does.
do.
Yes, he
So
does.
I mean, I think Khalid is definitely a very underrated player.
Those are two great answers. So we definitely gotta get them on the show. Number six, who's the best defender that you went up against?
Best defender. Oh man. There's some good ones. I'm trying to think about college. Hmm, 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 hmm. Oh man, who am I gonna go with here? I don't know. No one's coming to mind right now, really.
All right, that's fine. Number seven, what's the most someone has scored on you?
Well, I mean, I'll go to college, and I won't say on me because we play the zone.
Right,
But there was a
right.
couple. There was a couple guys. It's like Rodney Hood torches. TJ Warren went off on us one time.
Oh man.
There was a couple guys that they were able to. The ones that really were able to get going at Syracuse would be a guy who's probably 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", that can shoot the ball from three, but also flash at a high post.
Right.
And get that shot off as well. There's a couple of guys that lit us up there.
Those are fair answers. I mean, they both played in the NBA, so no worries there. Those worries there. What's the best team you played on?
Best team I played on would be my sophomore year at Syracuse. We had C.J. Fair, Tyler Ennis, Jeremy Grant,
Mm,
Raheem Christmas. I mean that team had guys that are still in the NBA now, guys that are still playing overseas.
right.
I mean that was a really talented group that we had. And we climbed the ranks and we were number one for a while.
And number nine, what age was your first dunk?
My first dunk was seventh grade.
Oh,
Um, Seventh grade. Yep.
a lot of people don't know you. You're pretty athletic. So I remember that Final Four game versus North Carolina. You got that one dunk. I forget who was trailing you, but it was like, oh, okay, okay, Trev got some bounce.
Yeah, I definitely a guy that was really athletic, but it's tough to show it in games sometimes.
Right.
But no, I could definitely get up there a little bit.
Now, what advice would you give to the younger generation to get where you at now?
You gotta keep working. You gotta keep working. You gotta stay focused. Really, you see a lot of guys that are younger now. I mean, I see guys all the time that are super talented, that are in middle school, high school. They come through the field house. But I mean, you gotta stay focused all the way through. You can't just work out here or there or play here and there. Like it's something that if you want to go and play in college, you gotta stay dedicated to it. You gotta work on something every single day. And you also gotta stay focused where that are so talented and can go somewhere and they mess up here or there, whether it's in school or out of school. So I mean, my biggest thing would be to keep working and to stay focused on and off the court.
Well, all right, Trev, man, that's the end of my show. I appreciate you taking time to come on my show. I know you're a pretty busy guy,
Yeah,
so I appreciate you taking out time to talk to me today, man.
absolutely, man.
All right, man. I'll catch up with you. I'll see you
Yeah,
soon.
well, I'm gonna send you some Syracuse stuff, man. I can't believe I just did this whole thing with you wearing a Duke shirt, man. Like, come on, man.
All right, I'll take it. I'll take it. I love gear, but I told you before the game. I said, I want you to play great, but I'm hoping Duke wins. I told
I
you.
know you did tell me that.
But all right, man. Much love, y'all. I'll see you
All
soon.
right, bro. Good talking to you, man. Thank you.
All right, bro.